As a kid, I was told that finding every single emblem in Sonic Adventure 2 would unlock a playable green hill zone. And last year, I got to see it with my very own eyes for the first time ever. But when it comes to the first Sonic Adventure, rumor has it that you can unlock an entirely new playable character. So I had to wonder, how hard could this possibly be? I mean, instead of 180 emblems, this game only had 130 split across 6 different storylines. No ranks to worry about, fewer Chao emblems, and only 3 missions per level. I might be naive in thinking this, but Adventure 1 sounds way easier to complete. So I was up for the challenge, and of course, it starts with Sonic. Chaos makes their first appearance, and the cops can't do anything right.
Our weapons are useless! Retreat!
Huh. So Sonic's to spam homing attack 3 times in a row. Also, I feel like I should address the big-eyed elephant in the room. Somehow, this stream was sponsored by Funko Pop, but lucky for you, the video isn't. Sonic Adventure definitely has a unique charm, and by that, I mean that I find it endearing when it looks like this. So here we are, level 1, Emerald Coast. I know there are going to be 129 other emblems, but to start things off, I'm going to have to simply play through the base story, starting with the whale used in every single Dreamcast commercial. Like, think about... The level ends when we rescue Tails, who is fresh off surviving a plane crash, and collect the first emblem. Now we're presented with a giant hub world to explore, but first, the fastest life form has to utilize public transportation before meeting Eggman, and also spamming homing attack 3 times. Despite our best efforts, he yoinks the Chaos Emerald, feeds it to Chaos, and as punishment, we had to figure out what the hell this is. Personally, I do prefer the streamlined story of Sonic Adventure 2, chaining the levels together with cutscenes, but my favorite part of the original hub world is definitely that they scatter 12 hidden emblems all across the world, and you have to figure out how to get them, and it's usually through unintended means. The next few levels honestly all take place so fast since you very quickly go from a real-life tornado to a much-needed power-up and for some reason pinball. I've casually watched a few speedruns over this game, so I knew there was a lot of skips here, but I'm not that person, so I just grinded out a miserable amount of pinball until Sonic gets to collect his 4th emblem. Jump scare, Eggman's here, and he stole yet another Chaos Emerald, which... Wow, his plan is really to just let us do all the work. So now we have another key and have to carry it all the way to the ice cap. Again, it's straightforward, it's simple, and it ends in a giant snowboard session that after completing this game, I am tragically traumatized by. But now we get to witness the moment you've all been waiting for as we meet Knuckles and attempt one of the hardest boss fights known to man.
Oh no.
But what I think is strange is that on all the other bosses, you hit them 3 times, their health bar shows that you hit them. So explain to me why the health bar for Knuckles is just the number 3 and it goes down. Well, when the number hits 0, we lose yet another Chaos Emerald, fail to look within at why this keeps happening, and attempt this dreaded boss that it drives me crazy, but like, don't worry, this game gives me multiple chances to explain why. So after Eggman gets sucked into the sky, we chase him down through a Star Fox-style minigame. We ultimately fail and witness yet another plane crash somehow. You know, between holding on to Chaos Emeralds and flying planes, at some point we just have to realize Tails is not very good at his job. Well, we shake the crash off and get introduced to Amy Rose. She's not too important yet, but she does guide us to Twinkle Park, which, wow, this level is all over the place. Sometimes it's a kart racer, sometimes it's a platformer, but sometimes it's bowling? Oh, and Amy got captured. But apparently that's not our problem now, since we still have to chase Eggman on Speed Highway. Look, in this stage, you get to go fast, for the most part. But then you get to go faster and finish the level in an open town.
Out of all the stages in Sonic Adventure, this one is definitely my favorite. Not to say it's all downhill from here, because on the bright side, this game doesn't have mad space.
Oh, wait, there's Amy. So after chasing her to the ruins and meeting Eggman's human trafficking robot face to face, he also gets sucked into the spaceship, and now we'll just go do something else, I guess. Red Mountain. Sure, that's a level. No! For whatever reason, Sonic jumps into an active volcano for fun, and then Tails picks us up to entertain a Star Fox sequel. Since my performance doesn't really matter here, I let Jaden try her best as someone who has never even touched a Sonic game, but trust me, I'll try to change that one soon. She likes Shadow, which to be fair, who doesn't? At least she did better than Tails and prevented a 3rd plane crash. Most of the story isn't really worth recapping, as the main highlights are that Eggman's ship is a transformer, I made some SpongeBob mac and cheese, cheese. Skydeck was a level that happened, but my favorite part was definitely at the end. Similarly to my journey through Adventure 2, a game where I gradually learned how to cheese the more and more I played it, the same thing was starting to happen in Adventure 1 as well. Slopes have always been a fun physics experiment in Sonic games, and this was no exception. Over the past few levels, I've started to realize how much height you can get by combining slopes with spin dash, and when I noticed that the final switch to beat the level was guarded off by an invisible wall, like the game was inviting me to this challenge. I had to look around and study the environment,
And eventually I saw the light at the end of the tunnel. So I threw a lone Hail Mary, and unsurprisingly enough, I found a way to break the game yet again.
Then when I got booted out of the level, I found an overworld emblem on purpose and then found a second one on accident. And similar to the Knuckles fight from earlier, we now get to fight Gamma in his little number counter in the corner as well. There's of course a reason why all 6 of these stories intersect, but now's not the time for that because we gotta fight Chaos 6 alongside Big the Cat. Yeah, believe it or not, even these 2 stories intersect here. I've always been a bit confused at the pacing in this game because it really feels like the game is about to end. So instead, we jump out of a moving aircraft, stick the landing, and go Indiana Jones through the Lost World. I've said it before, but the internet brain rot has made it so that I can only convey my opinions through tier lists, so here we go. And yeah, I could call it slow or tedious, but it's ultimately just a vibe thing that bothers me. The rest of the level is fine, sure, but every other level does their thing better and also doesn't have a giant water snake. So after doing all that, we end up in the past because why not, and meet Tikal in this vague vision that features dying children? Weird. So now it's time to stop Eggman. So we stop Eggman and the credits roll. To my surprise, I finished Sonic's story with only 17 emblems. We still have 5 more stories to go, and I decided to let my chat at twitch.tv/Alpharad choose who was next. So you probably know where this is going. Despite the other stories featuring platforming, racing, and treasure hunting, Big the Cat is a whole campaign of chasing his froggy little friend named Froggy, and then the rest is just a fishing minigame. However, the Twinkle Park you might remember from Sonic's story is a bit different since, yeah, it is really just fishing. And we have to catch the elusive Froggy before he escapes to the ice caps. So we chase him down, pick up another adventure emblem, and upgrade for fun, and simply fish him up again in the ice caps. Look, I know a lot of people complain about this gameplay, but take a step back and realize how hilarious this story is. This is a giant cat named Big who just loves fishing. Life can truly not be more simple than this, and I swore to defend these levels till my dying breath, or at least until I try to beat the other missions, but hey, trust me, you'll hear that later. Because now, Big has to stop by Emerald Coast and go straight to infiltrating Eggman's evil aircraft just so he can fish up Froggy in the hot shelter. You'd think this would be the end, but Big also started experiencing the Tikal visions and sure enough, found a way to intersect Sonic's story by fighting Chaos 6 himself with nothing more than a fishing rod and unbridled willpower. So we'll call it a season wrap on Big and get ready for Gamma with only, 107 emblems left to go. Also, prepare yourself for a peek here, because our story starts by being introduced as an evil robot who Eggman exclusively designed to do evil things. And then we get a cameo from that one guy who I admittedly only recognize from Super Mario Bros. Z. We start out in Final Egg, which is cool to play the final level first, but this is just a tutorial that gives you an emblem for free before introducing you to your evil brethren who you will one day murder in broad daylight to release the kind of animals that are trapped within them, and hey, you gotta start somewhere. So with one freed soul out of the way, we head over to Emerald Coast to find Froggy, and for whatever reason, this level is like 20 seconds long, so yeah, we're gonna be done soon. Gamma's story is perhaps the most standalone and self-contained section out of the bunch. Despite that, it's like good. You get a glimpse of her future replacement that is also evil, and then Gamma has a nice heart-to-heart with Amy Rose, and realizes that maybe he isn't that evil after all. Despite that realization, our story begins to intersect with Sonic's, and we attempt to kill him before Amy steps in and reminds Gamma that killing is actually kind of a bad thing to do. So yeah, we just leave because that's some other story's problem, which is probably why I like Gamma so much. This robot is currently processing an entire ethical dilemma by simply being introduced to the mere concept of good and evil. Gamma is rethinking everything, and the only way to bring justice to his evil brothers is to free the little birdie within us all. Gamma's story is full of run-and-gun missions where killing machines increases his own remaining life. The levels are never too hard, as you just hold forward until you run into a boss fight at the end, spam a singular button, and collect an emblem.
Then you follow this exact same formula 2 more times and free 2 more birds.
But the beautiful part from the end comes from Gamma's final encounter with Beta from earlier, who ended up getting those brand new upgrades. After seemingly defeating them in battle, they blow up and turn into a bird. Of course, that's to be expected, but then we remember, Gamma hasn't technically freed all of the birds yet.
And now he has. What a story. What a genuinely sad story. E for everyone, by the way.
The credits roll, I change my shirt, and we start off the next journey as Amy Rose. This story starts off as just another normal day as she reminisces on her past with Sonic. But we got dropped right into the middle of everyone else's story, and Eggman's evil trafficking robot has somehow returned. So while Sonic was playing go-karts, Amy was fighting for her goddamn life. With only a tiny bird by her side, she had to run through an entire theme park, multiple torture chambers, all while being chased until Amy grabs a balloon to safely escape Twinkle Park. At least that's what it felt like in the moment, but around this part is where we learned in Sonic's story that she was not successful. Yeah, so now we're on the egg carrier, but this is where evil Gamma has a change of heart to become a nice Gamma and allows Amy Rose to play whack-a-mole right outside her prison cell to unlock an upgrade that isn't ever really needed in the entire game. Luckily, Hot Shelter is right next door to the prison, and all she has to do now is outrun the robot who is particularly fond of color matching puzzles. Amy's story is absolutely the shortest in the game because despite only playing 2 levels, we encounter the end of Gamma's final boss and attempt to fight ours. The craziest part is that she absolutely demolishes Zero in record time, which begs the question, why was Girl even running? So the birds reunite and conclude the happiest ending a game has ever known. I mean, look at them go! How could you not be happy for them? Well, as for Amy, she just wants Sonic to respect her, and credits roll without any resolution to that one. But then I started actually listening to the lyrics of Amy's theme.
I just tuned in. What? He's so cute. I have to shave it. What? I need to look at the lyrics. What are these lines about? I gotta know the context. I know I just had to have looked away at the worst time. I do understand the feelings of a Persian cat, but the Sphinx looked so cute, I had to shave it. I don't fully understand. It still feels like an innuendo to me. This is the next line. He reminds me of Parsley when he's standing there all alone. It makes me want to be his specialty. I guess I'm just a self-centered girl, but there are nights that I have trouble going to sleep. This is like an Ariana Grande song.
On the bright side, there are only 2 stories left, so you can call him Knuckles. Unlike Sonic, he don't I'm not putting that in. Here we are, protecting the Master Emerald, and apparently Knuckles is not very good at his job either, as the island has nearly capsized. Now he finds himself in what is essentially the most war-torn city in the world, and Knuckles has to find 3 shards of the Shattered Emerald. If you've played either adventure game, I don't need to explain this to you. It's hide and seek with priceless gems scattered all across the city, and once you found all 3, that's it. This time, Knuckles finds himself in the casino, and he's doing the exact same thing he did before, but with an addiction-scented coat of paint. With 3 more shards stored somewhere on his body, Knuckles begins to have his first war flashback. He encounters Tikal standing up to her dad by saying attacking other countries, stealing and killing can't be the right path to peace, which... damn. Eggman is being a sneaky little guy and taking the hotel elevator up to the ballroom where he keeps his evil little water monster. Why? I don't know. Nobody in the entire game fights Chaos 2, but like other bosses, you just hit the bad guy and win. Oh well. New power, new emblem, new level. Wow. So many new things. Just in time for the same 3 emerald shards, the same cutscene, and the same Chaos 4 boss fight. Don't worry, I don't have to rant about this one yet because we will be seeing it again. Look, if I can be honest, I love Sonic Adventure 2. Like, I love Sonic Adventure 2. Sonic Adventure 1 is definitely fun. The series wouldn't be what it is now without it, and it absolutely has its own unique charm, but my god, is it repetitive. For the Sonic 1 truthers, this is not a personal slight, I promise you, but can we at least agree it's like a little bit repetitive? We're so limited by the grotesque amount of overlap between each character's levels in the game, and Lost World is no different. 3 shards of the Master Emerald later, and Knuckles is having another generationally passed down war flashback. So let's snap back to reality and find Eggman's secret entrance to his evil secret base, and wouldn't you guess, it's time for Skydeck. Oh, that sounds familiar. Again, like, these levels are fun, as I've always been a defender of the treasure hunter levels across both adventure games, except one. But I will be honest and say that I am struggling in this script to make 6 very similar stories sound different from each other. And if you think that's bad, just sit back, wait, and see what it truly means to not collect 130 emblems, but to 100% the game. Because those are 2 different things, by the way. To talk about what's most unique about Knuckles is that he's truly the only one who gets to have this vivid and violent of flashbacks. Sure, everyone else also gets them, but I don't know, this is like his tribe. It feels worse. What a fun reminder that you're the last of your species alive.
Is this a dream? It's more like a nightmare.
Whenever Sonic made it to Chaos 6, he won the battle. And what's funny is that so did Big, and spoiler alert, so does Knuckles. This boss was just a stepping stone in Sonic's story, but for Knuckles, apparently that's all he set out to do. Big got his frog, Knuckles got his emeralds, and we're back to the credits. Despite all of that, I have only found 41 of the missing emblems. I know I still have a long way to go, but I've barely just crossed 1/3's worth of completion. So let's just wrap up the final main story with Tails. If you don't know, this campaign is the most similar to Sonic's, which might sound surprising if you've been listening to anything else I've said so far. The main difference is that Tails starts by crashing a plane and waking up to a horrifying low angle of Sonic. What makes this story so fun boils down to one thing: Tails and his seemingly unlimited mobility. Not only can you get an upgrade to go faster before the first level even starts, but you can use that same movement to fight the Egg Hornet.
Oh, okay. Whoa! Thank God I can fly!
Sonic's levels are all about going fast, but when it comes to Tails, it's all about visiting Sonic's levels and going faster. In reality, we should never be able to win a race against the fastest creature alive, but also in reality, Tails would eat him. So to focus on his unreal mobility, we don't really race Sonic, so to speak, but instead just skydive towards the goal at the end as his AI desperately attempts to rubber band and catch up with us. Like, this level is exclusively vertical and Tails falls for a while. It takes about a full minute to land, but after we win our first race, it's 1 emblem down and immediately on to the next. Similarly to Sonic's story, it's time for Casinopolis. Instead of gambling away our life savings, Tails just races Sonic in the casino sewers for, you know. So here's a cryptic hint for the next level, and now Eggman's here. We lose that emerald we already lost in Sonic's story and fly out for a free emblem only Tails can grab. So here we are, back at the ice cap, but this time around, it's just a snowboarding level. Across all of Tails' adventures, every level has been drastically shortened compared to the Sonic counterpart, and since Sonic is still here, we still have a race to win. Luckily, the level isn't too hard on its own, but hypothetically, it could be harder if someone put a dark and twisted amount of flags on the path to collect. But that's a different story for a different time. 45 emblems collected, and now we get to see the Knuckles boss fight from a third perspective. But no, that's not all. We also get to see this boss again. And that's why they call it Chaos 4. Oh, okay, so unfortunately you only fight him 3 times, but I wrote that joke before I fact-checked it, and I'm not going to remove it. We take to the air, play a little bit of Star Fox, and crash our second plane of the day. Look, anyone can crash 2 planes in the same day, but surviving 2 plane crashes in the same day is a miracle. So after crash landing in a sepia-tinted jungle, Tails pogs out a passing vision of Sonic before waking up for real and doing whatever the hell this is.
I wasn't ready for it.
I don't know why the magic sand snowboard took us to the most shared nightmare of all time, but at least for Tails, he found a power-up in the world of Purgatory. This one lets him spin very fast. Way cool. How fun. Back to the skies, and I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like we've done this before. On the bright side, Tails did not have to survive a 3rd plane crash today, and we landed safely on Eggman's carrier and turned this heroic, death-defying journey into a friendly race between pals. However, I don't think Sonic fully processed that he accepted a race from a flying fox with the ability to fly on a Roblox obby of a labyrinth floating above the sky. By the way, Tails can fly. Since he was truly around for all of Sonic's story, we get to see those cutscenes one last time before fighting Gamma one last time, and instead of fighting Chaos 6 one last time, Tails' final swan song is a Sonic level. But to make it a boss fight, you race against Dr. Eggman, who functions no differently than racing against Sonic.
Tails, wait for me!
Tails, wait for me! Invisible wall? What? Since when? Maybe from the side. Yeah, let's try a different angle. See, that's the mystery. That's what we needed. Dude, Eggman, when he said wait for me, he meant it. You see that shit? I'm doing a lot more actual playing the game than I wanted to. Okay, now we hit a checkpoint. We got free reign to do whatever we want. Oh, that's the end, actually. He asked us to wait for him, to be fair. It'd be polite. Is he stuck? Is he lost? Oh, I do see him. Oh, he's making... Look how slow he is. Wait, where is he?
I've got you.
God, he got real confident for a second, huh?
So you beat me to the missile, you little pest.
But he's like, it was close, though.
At long last, we get to experience some Sonic deviation. No, not that kind. The first major difference of Tails' heroic adventure, and it's him fighting the giant enemy Spider. Since we have the infinite spin ability, the mission is pretty simple. The Egg Walker walks, we break its ankles, and after we do that enough, the game ends. I was pretty surprised since I remember Tails' campaign being a lot longer when I was a kid, but I guess the alternative would be fighting Chaos 6 a fourth time, so I'll just go with the credits. And my god, is it a controversial opinion? Like, do other people agree that Tails' theme in this game is one of the best vocal themes that has ever existed in all of the Sonic series, right? Like, the song's too good for that not to be a popular opinion, right? Oh, we're done. 6 stories and 49 emblems out of the way, which I suppose is good enough to unlock the Super Sonic campaign. We get a few new cuts from around the world, and Eggman reunites with Chaos, and apparently, that's a bad thing. Somehow, his rotting corpse ends up on Angel Island Jr., and that demonic puddle takes advantage of Knuckles' Chaos Emerald charcuterie board. So when Sonic and Tails catch wind of this disaster, they run over to save the day, but it's too late. They curse Sonic with yet another flashback of war, where the bad echidnas decide to use the Master Emerald to do bad things, but then Chaos protects them. Chaos Emeralds? Chao? Wow, what incredible foreshadowing. Tikal then instructs Sonic to harness the Chaos Emeralds because then, and only then, can he save the entire world.
Sonic, wake up!
I was on a snooze cruise, I guess.
Good
Why
thing
is
you're
he so
okay.
distressed?
Come! We gotta go after the last
Come!
emerald.
Lead the way.
All right, well, here we go.
In a slow burn of a reveal, Sonic discovers that the evil puddle has all 7 Chaos Emeralds, which can only mean one thing: a pre-rendered cutscene.
Open Your Heart's not playing. It's a different cutscene.
Look, I know Sonic wants to save the day, and of course he still will, but like, hundreds and thousands of people just died, and we can't really undo the flood, I feel. Anyways, introducing Perfect Chaos, an absolute menace who looks like this, but give it 3 seconds and he'll look like that. So now it's obviously time for Super Sonic, right? Well, the Chaos Emeralds are not working because, you know, Chaos essentially just went Super Sonic himself. However, Chaos only used the negative energy of the emeralds, and Sonic can still use the positive energy, which is apparently how that works.
Look, one thing Sonic has always done right. Wait. Look, putting lyrics in the final boss song, it's so simple. But God, does it go so far. I wasn't fast enough. There we go. Now look at how fast he is. Yeah. What do you think about that, Chaos? It's easy. It's easy now. Oh God, I am fast though. No, that's not it, right? Why do I remember struggling on this? That's not... Oh, no, there's more. Okay. That makes sense. I was like, I don't remember it being that quick. But no, we can hold on much longer. Okay, we got a little more. But why can't we listen to Crush 40? Why is Supersonic the highest quality model in the game? Because they actually did not rig any of his facial structures. Because, they just didn't have to. You can see, he'll never speak in Supersonic. He just kind of nods, and we did it. And that's Sonic Adventure.
Hey, I'll play with you some other time.
After saving what's left of the day, Chaos returns to his chill guy form and just goes to hang out with the baby Chows. You know, as if he didn't just wipe out an entire metropolitan area. Despite this, the gang agrees that Chaos looks pretty chill, even if this is the exact same form that attempted to kill the police and fought Sonic at the start of the game. Tails, the genius that he is, comes to the conclusion that Super Sonic neutralized Chaos, and he is certifiably a chill guy. Tikal then returns to the scene and she comments on how harmony has finally been restored. But like, so many people just died. And for whatever reason, she proceeded proceeded to praise everybody's favorite shield guy for protecting the Chaos and then force chokes Chaos up towards the heavens? And it takes like 10 seconds to do it. Again, I just want to remind everyone that this is what New York City looks like now. We absolutely did not save the day.
All's well that ends well, right? Sonic?
Tails, the city is in ruin. This is actually not a happy ending. Sonic can't swim. He just jumped into water. Sonic's dead. Yeah, the mission was completely failed, actually.
Despite beating the game, I still have 80 more emblems to go. And if you thought the game was repetitive before, just you wait. What's nice about Sonic Adventure 2 is that when you repeat missions, they all offer slightly different gameplay. After you beat City Escape, now you just have to collect 100 rings, and once you do, the level ends. Then you get to rescue a hidden Chao, and once you do, the level ends. Sure, the fourth mission revolves around doing the first mission, with the only difference being that you have a timer now, which admittedly is definitely the most boring kind of mission here, but at least the final mission serves as what is a Kaizo spin on the entire level that ramps up the difficulty exponentially. I played every 5th mission in a row to serve as like a gauntlet, and despite it being hard, I had so much fun. 100%ing Sonic Adventure 2 was genuinely an incredibly fun experience. Each level gave me a lot to talk about given the variety of strategies required to beat each mission. However, when making Sonic Adventure 1, we did not have Sonic Adventure 1 to learn from. Each level in the game has 2 other missions since we've already cleared the first one, and for all of Sonic's levels, the second mission requires you to find 50 rings. Well, that's easier than Adventure 2. It's half the rings, is what I thought at the beginning. But you actually have to find 50 rings and bring them to the end of the level. Personally, I think you're extremely likely to naturally collect 50 rings from casually playing through any level in the game. So it's less of a separate mission and more of just playing each and every Sonic level, but again. However, when it comes to the third mission of every Sonic level, it's the same as the first, with the only difference being that you now have a timer. Uh-oh. Like the previous mission and the mission before that, we go fast, collect over 50 rings, reach the goal, and that is what fully completing a level in Sonic Adventure looks like. This is truly the game that never ends, and please remember I said that because it is not going to end many more times, so just be prepared for that. To my surprise, all the sub-games also had bonus emblems. You know, like Sky Chase, Ice Cap, Twinkle Circuit, all those mini-games. Surprisingly enough, the game doesn't even tell you what you have to accomplish to get the secret emblem here, but to save you a Google search, Sonic has to earn 10,000 points here from perfectly comboing consecutive goalposts, which, yeah, sounds easy in concept, but the controls are not easy in concept. Reset after reset, attempt after attempt. Sure, it only took me 10 minutes to cross the finish line with enough points, but it really felt like blind luck. I really feel like I could have gotten stuck there for hours so the Sonic gods didn't smile upon me that day. Twinkle Park's bonus emblem was really just a Mario Kart time trial, and if you had any amount of remaining brain cells after the previous 50 emblems, this one was essentially a first try guarantee. Next up was Amy's Hedgehog Hammer, and this one is a slot machine disguised as a reaction test. The explosion and splash damage from her hammer often hits dummies that you weren't even in the zip code of hitting. I wasn't facing that way! So after a few miserable attempts, the Sonic gods blessed me yet again, but I'll be honest, there's no conceivable way that I ever could have possibly been prepared for what was coming next. Sky Chase. In the first act, Sonic has to use the Tornado airplane gun to rack up 8,000 points through combos alone by locking on up to 6 targets at a time. And my first attempt didn't even get 75% of the way towards the goal. You had to be so fast and precise in this minigame, like to the point where I was memorizing every single enemy spawn, and then I realized something. Throughout this video, you might have also realized that the boss's health bars might be smaller than you remember, or perhaps the same for random menu elements. Not only are you correct, but in the PC port, all of these things are decided through what resolution you're playing with. And then it hit me. My cursor is small because I'm playing full screen on my 4K monitor, thus making it so much harder than it needs to be. Don't believe me? Well, I made the screen tiny, played with a giant cursor, and beat it on the first try. It is really that easy. Then when it came down to the second Sky Chase mission, I knew that this one would likely be even harder, so I made my screen even tinier, flailed around the control stick, and swiftly secured our 58th emblem in 240p. Since I already knew what Sonic's extra missions looked like, I wanted to do some window shopping and booted up Tails' Windy Valley. Our goal here was to, Collect 50 rings and beat Sonic. Oh no. Well, at least you should naturally pick up more than 50 rings just from playing the levels casually, so sure, I'll play the level again. At least the third mission should be different, since putting a timer on screen wouldn't make that much sense given that the race with Sonic is kind of like already having a timer on screen. Yeah, we're just raising a suspiciously Sonic-sized timer. Well, despite that mission going the exact same as the others, at least we have a new shiny emblem to show for it. As you'd expect, the rest of Tails' emblems all follow the exact same pattern, and I don't know how to describe either of these missions besides, hey, I played Casinopolis, and then I did it again, but a little bit faster. Then I made it to the ice cap. I beat the level, did it again, and did it again. You see the problem? At this point, I was desperately hoping for a uniquely innovative way to spice up these levels, but you know the saying, be careful what you wish for because you just might get it. Well, if you've completed this game before, you'll know that eventually I absolutely do get it, and I was not careful with what I wished for. So I played through Skydeck twice, then again in Speed Highway, and just like that, I'm done with Tails forever. Given how different Knuckles plays compared to Sonic, I was optimistic that the bonus missions would be, well, different. And I have never been so happy to be correct. Our goal was to collect 3 emerald shards without any hints, which, oh god, it's the same mission as before. These radars have a massive radius, and all the maps are so claustrophobic, so like, do I even need hints at all to get 69 emblems? I just skipped ahead to Casinopolis in hopes of breaking up how repetitive these missions are, and simply did what I was told to find 1, 2, and 3 shards of the Master Emerald. Then, believe it or not, we did the exact same thing across Red Mountain, but at least for Lost World, we got to be a little bit silly. Of course, I've talked about the pathetic amount of overlap between every character's level selections, but I don't think you truly understand what I mean when I say that. Yes, both Knuckles and Sonic have to play Lost World, but Knuckles is literally playing Sonic's Lost World level. The only difference is that they put up one singular wall that blocks Knuckles off from finishing Sonic's level. And because this game is what it is, of course, you can clip through it and finish the level exactly how Sonic is supposed to.
Oh, what? Huh. Well,
Found it.
we sure did, Knuckles. We sure did.
Despite needing to collect 3 emerald shards, when you reach any end of the level, it will still end your level, even if it's not yours. Sadly, we couldn't be as funny for the remaining levels, but all Knuckles really had to do was fly around, hope to get lucky, and quickly find every emerald shard in every other level. With Knuckles signing off, this put me at 78 out of 130 emblems. Like, once you beat the story, you start getting the rest of the emblems fast, mainly because every other emblem is most likely derivative of another emblem you've already acquired. When revisiting Sonic's Windy Valley, I definitely had an unfortunate death near the end of the level, but it doesn't matter. I just need to collect 50 rings, and even though this is one of the final checkpoints, Sonic remains unpunished and nothing else matters. Look, I know grinding out the rest of the Sonic missions is going to be an absolute gauntlet, so let's grab the final few overworld emblems that are either hiding in plain sight or through the most sinister puzzles ever created. Oh, and then let's just talk about Amy's levels real quick, because there's like 3 of them. Would you like to guess what her bonus missions are? Did you guess to collect 50 rings and grab the balloon? Well, you'd be correct, and at this point, I feel like a prisoner. If they want me to collect 50 rings, sure, I'll collect 50 rings. If they want me to grab the balloon within 2 minutes, sure, why not? Luckily, Amy only has 3 total levels, so after collecting 50 more rings, we are already halfway done. Since I'm already going so fast, outrunning Predator Bot 3000 isn't really a challenge until the final hallway of Amy's final egg, which exclusively consists of randomized paths. There is not a consistently correct answer, so as far as the timer is concerned, just hope you get it right and move on to Gamma's challenge mode. As you'd expect, we have to replay every single level by gathering 50 rings, and believe it or not, the tutorial counts. You know, the one that only has 20 rings in it. Wait, what? Oh, okay, after tons of exploration and a good amount of deaths, I discovered that they hid bonus capsules of rings just out of sight to make this level possible. At least the 3rd Gamma missions are some of my favorites and the most innovative since they consist of hoarding time rather than beating time. I know it's kind of similar, but every combo Gamma pulls off gets converted into time, almost like a battery. So not only are you going fast, but you have to land enough combos, which yes, is uniquely thrilling, but not thrillingly unique enough to explain 4 times. After killing all of Gamma's family for, the third time, I got rewarded with my 100th emblem of Sonic Adventure. The only parts remaining now were starting Big's adventure, racing alongside some Chaos, and finishing Sonic's story. In hopes of saving the best for last, I decided to tackle the rest of Sonic's missions. Windy Valley is as simple as holding forward for 2.5 minutes while passively collecting 174 rings on the way towards the end. However, with Casinopolis, I want to try that speedrun strategy I mentioned earlier, even though I've never attempted it before. Luckily, there's roughly 50 rings scattered around the lobby and its slot machines, so as long as I reach the goal, that should be good enough. Sonic has a sacred technique of being able to clip through any wall of his choosing, ignoring that whole Scrooge McDuck ring collection process that I did before with pinball. But if you mess up even slightly, Sonic dies and I have to collect 50 rings all over again. Since I've never done this before, I failed the trick a multitude of times, and it ultimately would have been much faster to do it the slow way roughly 7 times instead of being fast once. But newsflash, I'm stubborn and edit my videos purely to show the highs instead of the miserable lows.
Well, would you look at that?
Yes!
Huh. Just gotta trust the heart of the cards.
The slowest, fastest emblem you've ever seen, and we're on to Ice Cap. Later on, I realized that you can essentially skip nearly all of it, but we're at the end of the video, right? I mean, less than 30 emblems to go, right? Right? Nope, I do not think you understand. This game does not end when you think it does, but at least it's easy to find 50 rings and beat the same mission slightly faster while also holding more than 50 rings. At the end of the day, I really just feel like I played through Sonic Adventure 1 3 separate times. Speed Highway was no different, as you have an abundance of rings on every conceivable path, and the whole level is littered with obvious speedrun skips. Personally, I can't imagine any level being too hard to find 50 rings, but god do I miss how Adventure 2 just ends the level once the goal has been met instead of simply doing it but again. Look, I don't mean to glaze Sonic Adventure 2 endlessly, but at the same time, I don't feel like apologizing. Adventure 1 is fun, the casual playthrough is thrilling, but 100%ing this, oh my god, this is a chore. Red Mountain's timer mission was not as easy as I expected. I hit the final checkpoint with limited seconds remaining and it felt like Groundhog Day, but only the failures. Upon dying my final miserable death, I sat up in my chair, locked in, and finally emerged victorious. This whole formula stays true for every other Sonic level, from Skydeck's topsy-turvy skips to clipping through the One Door in Lost World, and honestly, just trying to stay alive in Final Egg. With all of Sonic's missions out of the way, I only have 13 emblems remaining. And before Big the Cat gets to bring it all home, our first stop is the Chao Garden. Like Adventure 2, I might have performed some alternative methods and ended up with a force to rival even Shadow 2, Sonic 3. His stats are built like a child's playground OC who is immune to all known weaknesses and also looks super badass.
I mean, look at him go. He's already gone. Oh, and he is zooming. Oh, that's my go right there. Yeah! Oh, record time.
After entering Sonic 3 in every single beginner race, I realized that none of these earn any emblems at all. In true Sonic Adventure fashion, to truly make progress, we have to do the exact same thing, but again. Oh! At least all 5 races from here give you a new emblem, which alongside the Ultimate Lifeform of Sonic 3, we're left with 122 emblems. I am finally and officially in the final stretch. Given this, I wanted to take a little peek at the Steam achievements and realize that what I've been referring to as missions are not what the game refers to as missions. Those repeat levels weren't missions. No. Those were level C and level B and level A. So, what is a mission? And why don't I have the achievement for clearing all 60 of them? Well, that's because mission mode is an entirely different video game.
So wait, what the hell are the missions? I don't fully think I understand this. There are 60 of them, which sounds like a lot. What the hell does this mean? What? Huh? I'm sure this one isn't too bad, but I'm sure that these can only get worse. The number 1 was a fetch quest. Oh, they get bad? Oh no. 1 mission clear, huh? Oh, am I strong enough?
Mission mode is a demonic twist on Sonic Adventure by scattering 60 hints all over the world. Finding the hints is hard enough, and all they do is cryptically tell you how to complete the mission. It could be hidden in some corner of the overworld, a specific part of an unspecified level, or a mysterious third thing that the player would have absolutely no prior understanding of. Like here's Mission 28, hidden on a random rooftop. During the morning traffic, use the fountain to get the balloon. You'd think that this is somewhere on the streets, but no. The hint morning traffic means you have to go to Speed Highway, play the entirety of the level, and right before the end, find this random balloon. Sure, I only have 8 emblems remaining, but if I truly wanted 100% the game, I still have 58 more missions to go. And oh my god, does it not get easier. Mission 3, collect 100 rings and go to Sonic's billboard.
What the fuck is this? What? These are things I've never seen in the video game before. What?
I don't know the fastest way to get 100 rings, but I at least know a way that's similar to watching paint dry. Look, I spent so much time complaining about how level B and level A were really just level C and that I wanted something different, and oh, yep, mission mode sure is different.
I can't take a shower like this, Deuce. What? I guess it's gonna be in here? Are they just gonna have like a bad guy in the shower and we gotta just kill him, I suppose? Yeah, you cannot take a shower like this with the circumcisers hiding in the bathrooms. Yeah, I would not feel safe here either. All right, mission 13 clear.
There are 60 total missions in this game, spread out across all 6 characters. I've talked about it before, mainly in Sky Chase, about how much the resolution affects the game as a whole, and after finding new hints, you can't even really read most of them. On top of everything else, finding the hints without hints is hard enough before you even have to do what the hint says. I know I can probably just Google the answers, but I wanted to try and get the full Sonic Adventure experience, at least for a little bit. Unfortunately, knowing is not even half the battle here. The 9th mission requires you to play through half of Emerald Coast and grab a balloon awkwardly placed under a waterfall. Look, like it's fun, not all of them are bad. Some are quick and easy, like collecting 100 rings in Speed Highway before making it to the heliport for mission 27. Also, are you starting to remember when I told you that this game doesn't end when you think it does? So yeah, welcome to hell, buddy. So now, let's aim and shoot all the medallions with the Sonic Ball?
What does that mean? What the hell's a Sonic Ball?
My first guess was pinball here, but apparently that was wrong because the correct answer was the other pinball table. Duh. Of course. All the hints are hidden in the most random nooks and crannies, and even after finding mission 40, I still don't know where to go. You'd expect it to be focused on levels near where you find the hint, but not really. So I'm just gonna take the minecart to the jungle, head towards Lost World, and pick up mission 41 on the way. What's cool about the speedrun for all missions is that you are able to grab them all on a single route and pursue multiple missions all at the same time, but I'm going into this blind and chasing each mission one at a time simply because I do not possibly know how I could do it any other way. Lost World starts off with a snake looking in a direction, but that's not the snake the hint was talking about. Instead, I have to find out what this snake is staring at, and it's not that clear. Not only is this part of the level hard as hell to navigate through, but the hint needs a hint on what to do. And in case you're curious, the answer is an awkwardly placed chain of rings high above the aquatic abyss, and all it does is take you to a spring that launches you into a balloon to complete the mission. And as a reminder, I still have 52 more missions left to go. The other one I picked up for Lost World warns us to be careful as we fall, you know, like the waterfall? Yep, and I missed it, so now I have to restart the entire level.
Okay, the waterfall. Missed it, my bad. All right, let's try again. It costs a whole life. Oh, I can't even jump here. All right, so I kept trying to jump, but I think it's just to the right. I think my depth perception is failing me. There we go. All right, awesome, cool. That was fun. I didn't even get the chance to feel proud of what I did. Go to the place where the rings are laid in the shade. What? I don't know where that is.
You know, mission mode is always going to be here, so I'm going to at least wrap up Big Story and lock down all 130 emblems. You know, since surely this will be easier than the 60 rogue missions, right? Speaking of different, Big's bonus levels don't revolve around rings or speed, but rather fishing. It's all just fishing. To win the B levels, all you have to do is find a fish weighing more than 1,000 grams, or like 2 pounds. It doesn't really sound all that hard, and after doing so, Big still had to catch Froggy at the end to earn the 123rd emblem. As for the A level though, I had to catch a 2,000 gram fish before catching Froggy. So now let me explain something. Each fish has a predetermined limit on how heavy they can be, and of course, it's randomly decided what a fish weighs before the level even opens up. Speedrunners will usually take a glance at the pool and just reset if it looks wrong. So now, imagine trying to beat this level and being a little bit stupid. If you're like me, you probably also spent more than 30 minutes trying to catch a 2,000 gram fish that didn't even exist. That's right, none of the fish that spawn in this pool could have possibly weighed enough for the goal because those big, heavy fish can't even spawn until you find all of Big's upgrades, and I was missing one hidden in the depths of ice cap. So, before revisiting Twinkle Park, I found a 1,000-gram fish, and to clear level A, Big the Cat tried to catch a hammerhead shark. As a reminder, 2,000 grams is roughly 4.5 pounds, and this shark is about 2,280 grams. For some reason, the shark weighs 5 pounds. I feel like my math has to be wrong. One froggy later, and Big gets returned to Twinkle Park with all the ammunition in the world dedicated to catching 2,000 grams worth of fish. After a ton of trial and error, I eventually learned that most of these fish can never be heavy enough. Only this one specific robot fish has a chance, and of course, not only is this fish not guaranteed to be big enough.
Big, come on. You just grab him. He's right there. 1890 like an asshole.
But I was also still missing an extra upgrade that made it a little bit easier. It allegedly helps with reeling fish in, but I was still fighting for my life in Twinkle Park. I can confidently say that I struggled on level A of Big's Twinkle Park more than any other level in the entire game. Again, I've been a defender of the Big the Cat levels in the past, since fishing isn't even that hard, but no. I was not talking about level A Twinkle Park. This place is hell. I spent so much time in this godforsaken pool that I eventually just gave up and proceeded to see if the other big levels were as dark and twisted as this one. Thankfully, Emerald Coast was an utter breeze, but I cannot say the same for Hot Shelter. Catching a level B's worth of fish was easy, but to catch the big guys, Big had to navigate to an entirely hidden oasis through a Mission Impossible-esque heist just to find a big enough fish before struggling to catch Froggy through an endless war against nothing more than the game's own mechanics. At least, by the end of the level, I had 129 out of 130 emblems collected. After admiring my achievements on Steam, I was unfortunately reminded of the 52 remaining missions ahead of me, but then I noticed something else strange. Spoiler alert, yes, you unlock Metal Sonic when you complete this achievement, but what does this mean? Furthermore, what does this mean? Like, I know it never ends, but eventually the game has to end, right? So here we are, at the final boss of Sonic Adventure, Big in Twinkle Park. I'd love to tell you that I'm exaggerating, but I spent literally 2.5 hours trapped in this piranha-infested pool with the tiring sound of amusement park white noise blasting through both of my ears. This level was a special kind of purgatory, but sure enough, it finally happened.
Come on. Fight, Big. Fight for your fucking life. All right. And there it goes. Wait. Pause. We're mashing. Big, grab him. Oh, it's over. Get that frog and let's go. Oh, bring him in. Oh, instantly. Beautiful. Look at the mastery I've developed. Oh, 130 emblems. Oh. Metal Sonic? He's just here?
Where do you want to play?
There's more.
This game never ends. If playing every level as Sonic 3 times wasn't enough, now I have to play through every Sonic level again as Metal Sonic to accomplish the same 3 objectives because, yep, that's what it means to 100% the game that truly never ends. Sure, it was fun playing through Emerald Coast as a mutant Metal Sonic, which was exciting for the first time. And since he never talks, I guess the completionist reward is just that Sonic shuts the fuck up. But like, compare this to the utter bliss and payoff of playing through Adventure 2's Green Hill Zone. That level was a celebration, but this is a declaration that I am barely halfway done. Out of principle, I was not going to stream the rest of this game since I need to take a walk after everything I've witnessed and sit in a silent room alone to complete the rest of the game. Metal Sonic stormed through Windy Valley, nailed Casinopolis Skip, and played through every other level a total of 3 different times. I'm sorry, I do not have the willpower to explain every level for a 4th, 5th, and 6th time. Look, I'm truly completing this game so you don't have to. Live vicariously through me and learn from my lessons. Do not try to complete this game. This is what it takes to 100% Sonic Adventure, and this one achievement is now my own newfound proof that I have absolutely nothing better to do. Yeah. Don't have that achievement. I already finished a few missions as Sonic, so let's see what kind of buffoonery Tails gets to deal with. Mission 4, clean Tails' front yard. Using the power of holding the B button, I saved the day by destroying every piece of grass I could possibly find, even the weeds that were buried underwater in Tails' stone fountain. Sure. In Mission 47, Tails had to collect 10 not-so-hidden balloons placed here by some kind of demonic deity. I mean, at this point, it makes more sense than an actual game developer. Mission 10, what is that sparkling in the water? What does it mean? All right, I can't take it anymore. To fight back against this demon trapped in my video game, I turned to my trusty second monitor and found the answer that would have taken me hours. So, thank you, Google search engine. I know you might have thought it was hidden in this body of water, or this one, 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 but nope, it was in the Chao Garden. I thought being able to look up all the hints would be enough, but these missions not only get hard, they become certifiably unfair. Now, this mission-oriented trickster left a hint for us to find flags from the floating islands, which is not referring to the floating island, but the floating islands inside of Windy Valley. It doesn't matter if you win a race here or not, but you do have to find every single flag, which sounded easy, but I kept missing one in all of my early attempts while Sonic kept laughing at me.
I got it!
8 flags, found them all, and that jingle is starting to piss me off. I don't know, it just feels condescending and I can't explain it. Mission 24. I hate this dark and filthy place. Can you find it? What? Oh, duh. Of course, the clue hinted to the sewers of Casinopolis, but more specifically, this sign of Cream the Rabbit hidden on top of the air vents. Why? Why is that what the hint meant? Look, I asked for something different and I got something different. So I happily found a random balloon for Mission 31, 5 other random balloons for Mission 37, and my god, there is still so much more work to be done here. At least I only have one Tails mission left, so I decided to put it off till later. But remember this number. Mission 54 will absolutely be coming up later, and not in a good way. So let's just see what a Knuckles flavored mission mode looks like. Our first one was as simple as finding the hint, climbing a wall near it, and grabbing yet another balloon. But if you've been following along at home, it is definitely not going to stay simple. Who is the Chao good friends with? And what's hidden underneath? I don't know! Oh my god, what's with the signs? Tons of product placement just spawned in front of me, and I don't think the answer to this question is Sonic Unleashed. Yes, this is a real image. So let's dig in front of the Cream sign and move on to the next 2 hints I found sitting near each other. Luckily, both of these missions were in Casinopolis and not the Speed Highway entrance they were found right next to. Yeah, used to it. Mission 26 was found on top of the casino's boat, and the other was hiding under the animatronic lion's paw that squished us after finding it. Everything here has been a little easy for Knuckles, but I'm a bit too experienced at this point to say that out loud without expecting something to immediately change. Yeah, the next balloon was technically hidden right under the bridge I was standing on, but then while searching for another hint, I accidentally stumbled on a new Knuckles power-up that after 25 years of Sonic Adventure existing, I never even knew was in the game. And if you're curious, it doesn't really do anything. Like my script over Sonic Adventure 2, I knew that some parts were going to get repetitive, but if I've already committed to solving every mission, that means I'm also just as committed to tell you about it. Yes, this video might end up being a bit long, but I genuinely hope that showing you all of these cursed missions can at least prevent one person from trying it out for themselves. Anyways, Mission 38 is all about digging up buried treasure. The hint, the environment, everything leads you to believe that X marks the spot. So I'm almost convinced that this one is an oversight. I tried digging where the 2 arrow paths intersect, but for whatever reason, the treasure was actually buried over here. Yeah, I don't know. The next one brought us back to Casinopolis to snag a golden coin trapped between 18 different springs, and then I made it to number 56. What the hell does this mean? At least 59 made sense as they referenced an obvious landmark in Skydeck, but to follow up on the other one, I had to revisit Red Mountain. As you've definitely already guessed, they've placed yet another sign of Cream the Rabbit as our cryptic North Star that guides us to another coin. If I can be honest, I just do not understand how a normal person with a GameCube and a dream is supposed to be capable of solving these arcane missions. Like, are people just stupid now, or did other people back then not have anything better to do? Because I refuse to believe it's not at least one or both of those options. Yeah, whatever. Let's try out some Amy missions. The 6th one requires you to save a drowning man.
The 18th presents you with the Roblox obby course,
And oh my god, we're not even halfway done. I have to ask, is my suffering even entertaining anymore? Or are you just watching out of pity? Or are you watching because you just have to see it through? It's okay. You can be honest. Out of all the missions, though, I did think 19 was pretty cool. Sure, it's another balloon mission, but you have to do it through the mirror. It's nothing groundbreaking, but it got an, oh, that's neat out of of me. Unfortunately, I got stuck in the mission clear screen and died for it, which at this point, yeah, why not? Honestly, I'm at a point where I really want to give up, but recently learned about the sunk cost fallacy and found that shit disturbingly relatable. Mission 50 is the final one for Amy, and you will not be able to guess what it means to select a road that splits into 5 paths. Of course, it takes place in Final Egg, and I might have even spoiled it earlier when ranting about the random paths at the end, but you could never be able to guess what we're searching for. A balloon? A golden coin? A spring that launches towards a balloon? Out of these 5 random paths, the correct one leads you to a sign of the Sonic Unleashed box art. Okay, so the jingle has to be pissing off other people, right? Like, why do I feel so insulted every time it plays? Like, it can't just be me. Anyways, that's a wrap on Amy, so now let's see what missions for Gamma look like. Lonely Metal Sonic needs a friend. Well, he might be a bit busy playing through all of Sonic's levels 3 times over, so I'll just steal this guy and donate him for Metal Sonic to look at, which is somehow the correct solution. Mission 21 requires Gamma to revisit the tutorial and kill everything besides the Sonic doll. That's it. However, number 51 took an embarrassing number of attempts through Windy Valley. All I had to do was hit every switch on the wall before the game played that goddamn jingle again! What is that melody? Next up is a fun little treasure hunt on the beach, and sure enough, the hint was actually pretty helpful here. Again, thank God for my second monitor and Google, because Mission 42 was tucked away in a corner and was somehow the second mission in the game that revolved around committing multiple robotic homicides in a public bathroom. For whatever reason, Amy and Gamma really don't have a lot of missions, because that's it. And all I have left is Big the Cat, a few from Sonic, and that one Tails mission from Hell. To nobody's surprise, the first mission with Big requires fishing, but more specifically, that robotic-ass motherfucker that wasted 2 hours of my life in Twinkle Park. On the bright side, I have been hardened by this game and masterfully pulled out the fish while only wasting a few minutes this time, which is a significant improvement. Next up requires Big and his superhuman strength to find a random medallion hidden in the sewers before finding Mission 22 with my entire vision obstructed. One thing that these 60 different missions taught me was that there is an entire game hidden beneath the game that I never knew about. Like, how would you even know that these underwater labyrinths existed if Big didn't have to swim towards Atlantis to find a random flag on an island that is not important in the slightest? Also, like the first mission, the next one requires me to do the exact same thing again in a slightly different location, which is probably the most Sonic Adventure way to design any challenge at all. Unfortunately, the game follows a rule of 3s, as Mission 35 leads me to do the exact same thing in a slightly different location, but again. And yep, you guessed it, this is not the last time we do the exact same thing in a slightly different location. What's so frustrating about the fish is that if the line breaks, Big the Cat dies. As a reminder, I'm not in a level, this is the overworld, but dying still takes me back to the title screen if I run out of lives. Or fishing line, I guess. Eventually, I did reel the fish in, and as far as Big goes, I only had 2 missions left. Number 52 wasn't as bad as the others and didn't involve any fish at all, but was instead a mad dash around the jungle to find 3 random flags, which doesn't really feel like a ceremonious way to end Big's entire run, and neither did the final mission of finding a flag at the bottom of the ice cap. That was the entire mission. There's no real gimmick on these, it's just step 1, find the flag. There is no step 2. At long last, I'm back with Sonic to wrap up this game once and for all, but like for real this time. Sure, there's still a good amount of game left, since out of the 60 missions, 25 of them belong to Sonic, so here we go. 11 is a string of homing attacks to catch a balloon. 15 has 5 medallions hidden in a tornado. 20 presents you with yet another medallions mission, but this time an ice cap. 23 requests you to pop not 1, but 10 balloons on a merry-go-round. 30 has another string of homing attacks, but this time with a spooky little ghost man. 45 put together a Sonic-shaped circle of rings with a flag that Sonic needs to touch. However, mission 33 is a cannon into a balloon, and 34 has a light dash into a balloon. Yeah, and after that lightning round, only a few missions remained. So I decided to go pick up all the remaining hints and lock in for the end of all things. The true, very real end of Sonic Adventure DX. The egg carrier is not an easy environment to navigate by any means, and after struggling for a half hour, I finally made it to Skydeck. Mission 36 is probably one of the more confusing ones, not because it's hard to solve, but because you have to carry a normal guy through an ongoing war zone while dodging fighter jets, and the mission is cleared once you drop him on an active airstrike? Yeah, Yeah, me too. As if Twinkle Park hasn't taken enough from me yet, Mission 49 reminded me what it's like to suffer. Despite being trapped in the Twinkmobile with incredibly limited movement, I have to perfectly drive through the track and gather 31 total flags. I don't know how a normal person holding forward is supposed to do this, because I only found it possible thanks to the game allowing me to slowly turn around and collect whatever flags I missed. No, the controls aren't smooth when going against the flow of traffic, but at least I can take solace in the fact that only 5 missions currently remain. Mission 53. Look, if you're a speedrunner or just a genuine Sonic aficionado, you have to know what Mission 53 means. This sadistic-ass level not only requires you to play through the entirety of Sonic's ice cap, but you also have to gain an unholy amount of speed on a specific ramp at the very end of the level to grab one ring in this very specifically placed assortment of rings. So not only is it hard enough to gain this insane amount of height in the first place, but it's also so incredibly possible to gain too much height and be forced to replay the level all over again anyways. After a while, I did discover a much faster way of getting through the level and got pretty good at it since I had to do it several times. I know I've said this a few times, but this level was true purgatory. I spent a good amount of time here and then realized I just can't be bothered right now. I came to the conclusion that this had to be the finale for me since I cannot imagine that anything else would be as hard as Mission 53. Mission 54. Tails is back and ready to suffer. I know I've hyped this one up, and of course I thought I was escaping from Ice Cap, but I was so incredibly wrong. Not only does this one require you to play the whole level, but at the end, Tails has to collect 13 flags with phenomenal precision. Unlike Twinkle Park, there is no way to turn around. So if I happen to miss one singular flag, I gotta start all the way from the top and wait 2 whole minutes of a level before attempting to collect the flags once again, only to fail again and again and again and again and again and again and again. These missions are killing me. What happened to gathering 50 rings? What happened to finding a silly balloon? Can we go back to that? Please, no? Okay. Also, in case you're wondering, yes, you can try to take it slow, but if you lose to Sonic in the race, you lose everything and have to start over anyways.
I got it!
On multiple occasions, I would get 11 out of 13 or 12 out of 13, but you had to memorize this path so incredibly well in order to collect them all. I got close so many times, but close is not close enough. This one mission took me over an hour and a half of studying every individual slope before I finally grabbed my 13th flag. My God, Yeah, no, I just need to take a breather.
Hey, hey, hey! I got it!
Yeah, that feels about right. With this technicality of a win under my belt, I felt motivated to revisit Mission 53 with Sonic. I was going to save it to the end, but I've spent countless hours on these slopes and I might as well play while I'm hot. Every time I approached that final ramp, it started to fill me with such dread and fear, knowing that I was one error away from resetting. It's almost as if the outcome was already determined for me. It felt impossible. Reset after reset after reset after reset after reset, but like... I was determined. And after a while, I hit the jump and didn't collect a single ring, but got close enough to the trigger and the mission was cleared. Luckily, those 2 were the hardest ones I had left, and Mission 55 was just a walk in the park. Speed Highway gives you this cool running on the wall section, and during that, Sonic just has to collect 8 balloons that I happened to collect on my very first try, and just... God, I needed that. God, oh, I really needed that. I almost wish I saved the others for last because Mission 57 was just as easy as visiting Red Mountain and finding a spring to launch me into my final balloon of Sonic Adventure. Huh. With only one mission remaining, I can't tell if I'm starting to miss it already or if that's just the Stockholm Syndrome sitting in. Either way, I've found myself in Lost World for hopefully the last time in my entire life. After spin dashing down a long and winding road, Sonic took the Water Snake Express, clipped through a wall, and fell off the edge for old time's sake. This final area was the calm before the storm, as Mission 58 had Sonic run against an Indiana Jones-style boulder and collect 36 flags. And let me say, this level is impossible. I kept trying and trying and trying, but going against the boulder just does not work as it prevented me from making any progress at all. Then after it hit me enough times to push me off the map entirely, I realized something. I can make this jump. Sure, there is honor in beating this legitimately, but after feeling cheated by the game so many times, it was finally time to cheat the game once and for all and pick up my 36th flag my 60th mission, and my final achievement. Ladies and gentlemen, that's a wrap on Sonic Adventure. Last time I did a video like this, completion meant that I got to celebrate by running through Green Hill Zone in all 3 dimensions, but here, in this game, completion was a sigh of relief. I don't feel like I necessarily 100%ed the game, but instead, I feel like I survived it. Yeah, I survived Sonic Adventure DX, and all I got was this stupid achievement.